I'm not sure why the entire world gets butthurt when Black women decide to express their standards. Can someone assist me here? And this is in response to an interview that has been getting a lot of buzz on the internet between Eboni K and Iyanyla. And before we get into the interview, because I'm going to play it for you guys, you can see it in its entirety, because I do think sometimes we like see these little viral clips and it's very easy to form an opinion, but I want you guys to listen to the entire clip, and I think you guys will definitely agree with me. I have a problem with the fact that Black women are seemingly the only group of women that are continuously told to settle, continuously told to accept scraps. I love that there is so much pushback and that Black women are seeing their worth, and I will support any girl that looks like me that has chose to do better for herself. This woman is literally an accomplished lawyer. I believe she hosts several TV shows. Her resume runs a mile long. Actually, let me Google her because I want to make sure that I give her all of the props. Here we go. Ebony was born in 1983. Sis is about to be 40. Hey sis, you look good. She's an American lawyer, television host. She co-hosts a late night talk show, State of the Culture on Revolt. She co-hosted on a talk show on WABC Radio New York, co-host on Fox News. She was also cast in The Real Housewives of New York City, which we already know. If you're not getting a certain bag, you ain't gonna be on a Real Housewives, child. So we already know what Miss Ebony is bringing in, child. I mean, this woman literally has a resume that is a mile long, and this is the definition of Black excellence. And Ebony, we see you, sis. We applaud you, sis, and I got your back. Now, let's play the interview, and then I'm gonna dive back in with my commentary.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself.
So after watching that, we can see that Iyanyla has kind of pivoted into giving dating relationship advice. I know she's published a bunch of self-help books and has also had a show called Fix My Life, which I was never a fan of. I personally feel like Iyanyla was exploiting Black pain, and I just could never get into her content. Again, it wasn't for me, clearly. I don't know, she's giving a little Kevin Samuels vibes, and I feel like everyone is kind of trying to attach themselves to his success. And while I believe that he did make certain points that were valid, he definitely realized that being abrasive and hurtful was a huge cash cow. Being abrasive, hurtful, downright evil at certain points was a huge cash cow. And I think a lot of people are trying to follow and fill his footsteps right now. I think as a community, we have to understand that we're only hurting ourselves. And I think we can hold ourselves accountable as a community without hurting each other. And that was when I did appear on one of his Instagram lives. I know that's gonna come up, but I very shortly after stopped consuming some of the content because I was just like, this is hurtful. Now, a lot of people are delusional, and I do think some people do need to be brought back into the real world. There's a way you can do it in a loving manner. There's a way you can do it without being so disgusting and vile, and that I don't subscribe to at all, which is why I essentially stopped consuming any content that was coming from him. But I do think that Miss Iyanyla is trying to kind of take up that space. And I think this interview in particular purposely was to make Ebony look bad, which is why she's getting the backlash that she's getting. I don't think Ebony is the type of woman that, one, would even be in the same room or be on a bus to even meet a bus driver. Let's just keep it a stack. Like, she needs to date within her socioeconomic world, and a bus driver wouldn't be that. First of all, are you gonna find this woman a multi-millionaire on a bus? Probably not. I just don't even know why the bus driver analogy was brought up, but again, I think she did this intentionally. Now, if Ebony was someone who, and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the bus driver. I personally know that bus drivers, train conductors, especially in New York City, earn a livable wage, you know, and these are people we need for our society to run. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being a bus driver. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. Some people love it. Some people love, you know, essentially interacting with people in that way every day. Cool, right? But if she was someone who, I don't know, had a 9-to-5 job, working at a college in admissions, and they were making a similar salary, yes, why not date a bus driver? You guys can build together. You guys can combine your incomes and live a better life. You guys can invest in property. You guys can use that property to, you know, buy more properties, you know, then create wealth that way. Like, that is the typical, like, American dream. But how can we tell a woman that put herself through 7 years of college to date a bus driver? I don't know. She is definitely the upper echelon of black women. So to even give her the bus driver analogy would be odd. She could have said, would you date a paralegal at a law firm, being like, you know, the head of the firm? That to me would be more realistic, because they could support each other, you know, in different ways. And while he would obviously be earning less than her, she's, you know, still dating someone within her realm. But for a lawyer, TV host I just didn't understand why bus driver was even brought up. But again, this leads me to believe that she purposely set this lady up. Like, she set this lady up. You do know that Ebony brought Iyanyla on the show because she said I was a hit dog and I did holler. So check me. So again, whatever. I still think that was a setup. Also, as a woman who subscribes to I'm trying to be respectful here. As an older woman, she's obviously older than Ebony, her stance on what a nuclear household looks like, and honestly, if I'm keeping it a stack, she says she would date a bus driver, and of course you would. Of course you would, Iyanyla. But that doesn't mean that Ebony has to. Of course you would date a bus driver. And then she also stressed the importance of women being feminine, and how women are not supposed to build. We're supposed to let men build, or assist them in building. But then I clocked a lot of hypocrisy there. So building is masculine and it's a man's job. But in the same breath, Iyanyla saying, if I was dating a bus driver, I would help him build. Isn't that... I'm confused here. To me, what that says is you don't even trust the advice that you're giving, ma'am. You're saying that you will help him build and you'd have a stash on the side along with a prenup. Ma'am, what? You don't trust yourself. You're just speaking. She's talking about how if he was a man of integrity, if he loved his mother, I could date a bus driver. I could do it. So are you actually trusting your man to lead your home? Or are you just settling for any piece of a man, child? Because that's what it's giving. I am confusion. I just feel like our community is the only community that big ups struggle love. And while, again, I'm not saying that it is, because I also believe men should not date women who are, I mean, see, I don't know, y'all. I'm still a little scared. I'm still a little scared to share some of my opinions. I know y'all gonna cuss me out. But I also feel like the same applies to men. Like, if a man, for example, put himself through law school, same thing Ebony is, right? And someone tells him to date a girl who decided not to finish school, has 4 kids by 4 different men, under 30, and she has no aspirations, goals, or is not even trying to get herself out of any type of hole that she's in, why should he date her also? Like, I feel like he should date someone on his level. So I feel the same way about women and men, just to be clear. But I just feel like black women especially are always encouraged to date down. Always encouraged. I mean, it's confusing. Do you want us to be feminine, or do you want us to build? Do you want us to earn or not earn? Like, what exactly is it that you want from us? Because I feel like no matter what Ebony said that day, she would have been wrong. If she said, yeah, I'll date a bus driver, I don't have a problem with it, they would have dragged her. If she said no, they would have dragged her. I think the best thing that she should have, again, I watched the whole interview, I only saw one clip. At first I was like, I wouldn't have even answered. I would have been like, no comment, child. I'm gonna just date who I want to date, you know? But again, she brought her on there because she wanted to have this conversation. But from the little clip I saw, I would have just been like, yeah, no, I don't know if I want to answer that question. And I think that's what, like, a lot of us have to start doing, because literally I feel like we're being set up to be drugged, to be painted a certain way. And if you were to go into other communities, like the Indian community, for example, if a dad literally busts his ass to come to this country to earn a certain amount of money, to be able to live in a certain zip code, to put his kids in a certain school so they could literally get into certain colleges to earn a certain amount of money by being doctors or lawyers, do you think he's going to tell his daughter to date a bus driver? No, he's going to tell his daughter to marry a lawyer too. Marry a doctor too. Meet someone in school and you guys build together. Why are we the only community that literally gets hung for that? For saying, no, I don't want that. We're the only community that get hung for saying no to struggle. What is the point of us being free in America? Somebody explain. And I think, like, from my personal experience, and I wouldn't even say dating down, just dating someone who made less than me, it came with verbal abuse. It came with physical abuse. It only works if you two are on the same page when it comes to, like, what you want out of a relationship. But I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it has worked, but it's very rare. It's very rare, you know? So why would we want Ebony, this woman who would literally bust her behind to get to where she's at, to go backwards? And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Iyanyla, like, stab her husband allegedly, and, like, her kids don't talk to her? Like, this woman is not someone I would trade lives with. So why would I be taking advice from you? You're not even operating from a place of, look at me, you better listen. Ma'am, no thank you. No thank you. I think I literally lost a friend for saying this to her, but I think Iyanyla comes from a family lineage of pygmalions, and it stops here, ma'am. Like, we're not you. We don't want to be you. We have not seen success, and what we do see is other communities thriving by not adhering to what you are pushing on us. I have seen these beautiful, feminine, educated women do what Iyanyla is suggesting, only to be met with black eyes, their credit being ruined, being stuck with children that they have to raise on their own. Why do we want that? Like, where's the upward mobility in that? Where is it? This woman is better off alone. We're dragging Mary J. Blige for dating Kendall, Nicki Minaj for dating her man, Riri and ASAP. Who else? Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like, do you, black women? Because at the end of the day, all Iyanyla is doing is making sure that her son finds him an Ebony. Like, she's literally trying to get this rhetoric to stick somewhere so that so that her son has the option of dating an Ebony. It's not going to happen, ma'am. So your son is going to have to level up. If you want your son to be with an Ebony, he's going to have to level up and come at her correct. This really breaks my heart that Black women are encouraged to be the best, to be the creme de la creme, just to quite literally be the best at everything. The best at everything but finding a partner. Again, two things can be right at the same time. I did say earlier, there's nothing wrong with the bus driver. I do think when you get to a certain place in life, you know, you have to be realistic. Granted, if Ebony was 50 and she had exhausted all of her options with dating, and it's just like, babe, your standards are just way too high, you need to kind of, you know, open yourself up, cool. But that's not the case here. I don't know how fair it could be. And Iyanyla, again, you have nothing that we want. All of the pick-me-show ways, all of the coddling, all of you trying to sweep up the dust and encourage it. What's going on with your dating life? What are the cobwebs down there looking like for you? I don't understand why we have to constantly live in a world where people are trying to humble us. No, thank you. It's be the person you want to attract. The next breath, go back and pull somebody up with you. I just think Iyanyla has to hang it up. Her advice is not conducive to where we as Black women, as a collective, are going or are. Like, we are the most educated. We are out earning a lot of men. You know, we have to seek outside because the pool is so small for us. We are quite literally capital M magic. It's gonna be hard. We're all competing for the same small group of men, you know. It's time. Iyanyla's bag is quite literally catered to uplifting Black men. It is what it is. She's not trying to uplift us. In my opinion, I think she resents the Ebonies of the world. It's not my fault, ma'am, that you chose the life you chose. But why would I not be encouraged to make another choice? I'm leading by example. I don't want what you had or have. That generation of women will, he's a good man, Savannah. You to a bus leading you to struggle. Get off. Don't even get on. Now, of course, they attacked Ebony online, and I want to play you guys what her response was because the read was so elegant, guys. Watch.
Out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of Black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and Black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of Black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that Black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning Black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about Black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
Now, baby, when I tell you Miss Ebony read down, she said, you know, if you love dust, by all means, but not me. If you were an underachiever and you don't mind dating an underachiever, go ahead, but not me. If you want to date a bus driver, go ahead, but not me. No matter what a black woman achieves, what she does in life, how much education she has, how successful her business is, we are still expected to struggle. It stops, guys. It stops. We ain't doing it. Get somebody else to do it. It's disingenuous to judge someone who wants to date within their tax bracket. It's that simple. Especially that woman that has worked her ass off to be where she is. It's asinine to expect her to settle. The issue is there aren't enough men who are just as or more ambitious than the Ebonys of the world. That's what Iyanyla should be talking about. She should be empowering men to want to do more, be more, so that they can attract the woman that they want. They can marry the woman that they want. It's not even realistic to like live on 100 grand in America. Why would Ebony not seek someone within her class? She's not a gold digger. She's seeking to be equally yoked. They teach y'all that in church, right? And then for the women who are like, I don't think she was telling her to lower her standards. She was just saying consider that he may have great qualities and he may be a great man. Again, I just told y'all I did that shit. And it did not work out well. It was literally, I remember so vividly wanting to move out of my brownstone apartment in Harlem to a high-rise because I was being stalked. This is at the peak of my YouTube career. And I was like, I need a security guard, like, or a doorman, so like no one knows where I live. If I'm on the top floor in a brownstone with a red door, everyone's gonna know where I live. And it was like, you want to move to an expensive building? You can move to your high-rise by yourself, bitch. Quite literally. I will never forget this day. And that's when I was like, yeah. And he was like, you can live in your penthouse by yourself. Like essentially like you'll be alone because I'm not going to rise to the occasion. Deuces. Thank God I made it out alive. Men do not genuinely want to be with a woman that's doing better than them. It's going to be a relationship full of resentment. You get a promotion, you get a little promotion. You get a Benz, oh that's a baby Benz. Look at your little baby Benz. And if he does, one, he's gonna just want to be there for the ride child because he want to be taken care of. And two, majority of the time, his goal will be to humble you. I'm gonna close this video out because I feel like I'm rambling at this point and I keep repeating the same thing, but I want to close out with this. I realized one thing that really stuck out to me. She said, I wrote it down, our standards are off for who we are and who they are. And I think that for me, that was how she interprets black women. Like that's her interpretation of who black women as a whole are. And we know we're not a monolith, right? But essentially I feel like what she's saying is we don't deserve men of value or high value because the men can't rise to the occasion. I don't see her ever saying this to a woman of no color. I don't, because that's not her belief. She can beloved her way to the bus station. She could marry one tomorrow. But Miss Ebony, I am proud of you for standing 10 toes down, for clapping back with class, like the feminine lady that you are. And if that's 40, I'm ready. Okay, I got a few years, but baby girl, I hope that my bank account is sitting as pretty as you at 40 because I am hustling. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Meet me in the comments because I'm ready to go up. I'm ready to go off. Let's talk. Let's chat. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Struggle bus. Chat. They got me messed up.